Hello, hello, hello. This is 3D or 2D.com's The 3D Show.
It came from the third dimension.
As always, I'm your host, Adolf Vega, and with me is...
James Tate.
Put on your 3D glasses now. 3D glasses not included.
And if you're wondering what the 3Ds are in The 3D Show, well, they stand for discussion, debate, and the news. I will not be talking about
Disney ruined Star Wars.
and or
The base.
or
De Beers.
but we will probably talk about
Avengers.
and
Mario!
I do hope you enjoyed the show. The show, get it? Alright, welcome to episode 61. We got tons to talk about. Absolutely tons. So James, what do you want to go for first?
Let's start with some movie news.
Alright.
Pick something at random because we got a lot of movie news.
Okay, so we got a trailer for Thor Ragnarok, or a teaser trailer, and that one was crazy. I love it, but it's crazy.
Well, I mean, it seemed really weird to me because it seemed a lot like Guardians of the Galaxy, kind of.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's what I got from it, like the trailer and everything. You can kind of tell that the film is basically just going to be Planet Hulk.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The trailer kind of had some spoilers in there, which usually I would be upset about, but they kind of handled them so quickly that it just kind of leaves more questions open, and you're like, well, how did that...
Yeah, like, for example, there's a scene where Mjolnir breaks. Like, how the hell does Mjolnir break?
The hammer, just,
Yeah. His hammer, yeah.
And that's like the first, 30 seconds of the trailer. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah, and then, of course, is he totally out of it? That he can't recognize Thor and he has to battle? Because it's kind of a weird thing.
I don't know, maybe it's something along the lines of, like, he doesn't have his hammer, he looks different, I don't know.
Because, okay, in the comics, Hulk can get so hulked out that he loses his brains completely and is just a monster,
Yeah.
But isn't that like a different color, though?
Yeah.
Like
something
red
like
or something? And then, like, if it's the green Hulk, then it's still Bruce Banner in there. His brain consciousness is still there. So he does have some control over it. He has some understanding of things. But
yeah, but okay, here's the thing though. Here's what I'm wondering. See, in Planet Hulk, I don't know if you know anything about Planet Hulk, where in the original story he gets sent to a different planet and he needs to fend for his own. So Bruce Banner and Hulk basically make a deal that for up until whenever it's safe, which may be a long time, Bruce Banner will stay in Hulk form, but the Hulk form itself is a little bit more smarter than normal Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more of like a combination between the two. I don't know if they're going to do that. I think it would be kind of cool.
So that's the thing, there's just so many more questions it does, but yeah. It leaves so many questions unanswered, which actually is fine because it gets you interested in the movie. Like, if I don't see anything else after this point for Thor Ragnarok, I'm fine. I'm good.
Yeah. I think that this was enough, though. Like, get me interested.
And then, the Guardians of the Galaxy is exactly what I was thinking, too, because it has much more of a pulpy kind of funness to it that it really feels fundamentally different, which they're trying to do.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like Thor 3, because Thor 1 and 2 really kind of are not the... Thor movies kind of suck, okay? I'm just going to say it. They're not the best Marvel movies. They're just kind of there. They're the weakest of the bunch, I think, and I just don't care about rewatching them. Where, Captain America movies, I'll rewatch those, and it's just like the Thor kind of... They just don't have good villains, and They just don't. I mean, obviously Loki is an amazing villain, but besides Loki, they just don't have. They're not great. So, I wasn't really excited for Thor Ragnarok until now. So now I'm like super hyped. All right, I'm day one. Obviously, but it's totally different tone. Totally different. Very fun. Very quick paced. It's the kind of thing that you could totally imagine Guardians of the Galaxy referencing, that's happening in Thor, and So
the thing is that we have to understand, though, that what will be certain is that Doctor Strange will appear in this film.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. So I don't know how that's going to connect those dots,
but it will somehow.
Yeah. So Thor Ragnarok. I got my thumbs up, way up for this one. You, James?
Yeah, it seems pretty cool. Okay. Prediction though. Hulk might make a cameo in this film, and he might stay on that planet. Who knows?
Yeah, that might be interesting. That way,
who knows? Yeah.
Maybe he just, is happy there. Is happy battling people. He knows that, maybe, because I know he kind of feels bad about the destruction he does as Hulk. Yeah. When, maybe that's a way to be productive about his destruction. Yeah. So, because in Planet Hulk, isn't like his blood help to make the plants grow or something?
Something like that, yeah.
It's what they crave.
Yeah.
They crave Brondo. It's what it has electrolytes.
But Brondo's got what plants crave. It's got electrolytes. But Brondo's got what plants crave.
It's got electrolytes.
Plants crave.
Brondo's got what plants crave.
Yeah, it's got electrolytes.
Yeah.
It's what plants crave. they crave Hulk's blood. It has electrolytes. Gamma radiation electrolytes.
Seriously though, yeah, I think this will be a fun film.
Okay, so let's keep going here. We got a trailer for Amazing Spider-Man that we haven't talked about yet, and it's kind of for me the opposite, where they had too many spoilers here, and it basically was like a real outline of the entire movie, act by act.
Yeah.
And it's like, thanks for ruining the movie for me, because I basically know where everything's going to happen,
Yeah.
And it looks good, but
yeah,
man. Okay, what do you guys say?
Well, for that reason, I actually have not watched the second trailer.
Oh, you heard the spoilers because
yeah, I overheard people talking about how it ruins the film, and I didn't watch it. So, but I can't say that I have good. I'm confident that Homecoming most likely will be good. I only have nitpicks. Like the only nitpicks about the film that I don't like. Other than that, looks pretty good.
Yeah, these are kind of top level spoilers. So I really do not appreciate that. Where at least Thor, on the other hand, it made you more interested in the movie. Yeah. How does it get to there? Where does it get to? What happens next? And it does, it makes a spark to get you interested, because it tells you stuff you didn't think you wanted to know, but now you want to know more. And this tells you everything that you didn't want to know. And now you don't really want to see more, because you can pretty much predict what else happens, So it's two polar opposite ways to do trailers, or teaser trailers or whatever. It's you're going to ruin the movie, or are you going to tease it and get people excited for it and not tell you every little bit? And I really question Marvel's decision on that. I don't know if they're desperate or what. I don't know what the purpose, why they even needed to do so many spoilers,
Yeah.
So I don't want to talk about it, because it's I feel like it's like 80% of the movie spoiled, and it's like it's excessive. It is a sin to have so many spoilers, and
Yeah, I've been hearing that complaint from a lot of trailers actually.
Yeah, it how you edit it and how the tone is, it just it does a lot of it gives you a lot of information, and you can really tell how good or bad things are. And yeah, I saw a trailer yesterday. It's actually kind of funny, where they edit the Guardians of the Galaxy, and they edit it for the purposes of if it was like a DC movie. So that it has much more darker tones and darker music, and like all the really horrible scenes are like really cut together to make them more, because the DC movies are more serious, but they're not. So it totally changes how the scope of the movie is, and it's interesting to see how they could do that. How a trailer can, we all know Guardians of the Galaxy is a fun popcorn, pulpy kind of thing, and like how they edited that is kind of amazing.
Yeah.
And so, okay, what do you want to go with next?
I will have to look at the list. You pick next. I'll pick the next topic.
So, did you hear about GameStop?
GameStop? What about GameStop?
They're closing down 100 or something stores.
Wow, that's a lot of stores to be closing down.
Yeah, so, they don't really say why, but we could all kind of know why, because people are buying more digital, and, they're probably not trading in as much, which is part of the plan, with when you buy digital games and when you buy, DLC and game stuff, that's the whole purpose, to not sell your game in 2 months or 3 months, so that way the expansion season pass is coming in, in 4 months, so I can't trade in this game. So I don't know. And they recently bought ThinkGeek or whatever, and they have a bunch of more merchandise in the store, but I guess their margins are always really small. It's one of those things that people kind of forget, that like the margins on video games are like tiny. They get like, for every game they sell, a new game, it's like $5, and that's nothing compared to, whenever buy used games, And I think a lot of their practices, which are unethical at times, it's like
they have kind of a bad reputation, to be honest.
Yeah, with like, if someone buys a game and then returns it a day later, it's used, and then they sell it for $5 off. And it's like, so what? Who cares? It's only $5 off. Why would I buy that?
Yeah.
But then they purposely open up stuff to make it sold, used, and so it's just one of those things where you kind of see a lot of the market kind of suffering, not because of the economy being bad. It's just people are moving away from buying physical, and they don't need to, And I think maybe some of the blowback from people getting pissed off at GameStop being so high priced, and because right now, if you get the Gamers Club from Best Buy, you save 20% off of retail games, or you could do the Amazon Prime Club or whatever, and then you get the same 20% off there, and that's physical as well. So you could make some, save some big money doing those programs. And GameStop has their rewards, which is like you get more points for your trade-ins, and you get the Game Informer. But I mean, I don't think it's as much of a value as the other ones, Yeah. Just kind of sad. It's interesting, It's kind of weird because sometimes they would like totally cut out old retro system, and then they'll bring it back like 5 years later. So like, GameCube games, we're no longer accepting them, and then 5 years later, it's retro. Yeah, we'll take it now.
Yeah.
And then, they have to like destroy games if they don't get sold after a while. Like,
Yeah.
So it's just a weird way of doing things. I mean, I don't really have personal problems with GameStop. I'm fine with them. But, it is sad to have a lot of people lose their jobs,
Yeah. It's always unfortunate.
All right, so we got news on a DC movie. Did you hear about this with the Batgirl? And
Yeah.
So this is going to be directed by Joss Whedon. Do you know who that person is, James?
No.
You don't know Joss Whedon, the same guy that did Avengers?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I thought you said Jeff Whedon.
So, yeah, he's going to be directing that DC movie with the Batgirl, and which is really interesting because I never really thought that much of Batgirl and Joss Whedon coming back, because he was so burnt out from Avengers 2 that he left after that. And he set up Phase 1. So, he set up Marvel Cinematic Universe. So you got to give him props for that. And now he's working for DC, which is probably the smartest thing that, Warner Brothers has done in years,
Yeah.
Maybe he could be the one that really fixes the issues, where it makes it more...
Yeah.
So
I would agree with that. Mm-hmm. But why do you personally believe that he left Marvel to begin with?
I remember him saying in interviews that he was just burnt out, that he couldn't, he couldn't do so many movies at the same time. And then, he, seen the bigger scope of everything, and it was a lot of pressure. And I think, all directors kind of want to do different things. They may have a blockbuster here and then they do an art house movie there, just to kind of, get their itch, scratched. Some of them, they may want to do a bunch of comedies and then they do a drama, just to make sure that they get their full acting potential done or directing potential. So maybe he just needed a break, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? But yeah,
so
I think it would be interesting.
I mean,
I'd like to see how he does a DC film.
Yeah, and like Batgirl is an interesting character because she's never really gotten a major spotlight like this,
Yeah.
So I don't think she has her own villains per se. They're just Batman's villains, or so that's going to be interesting. And who do you want to be Barbara Gordon or Batgirl?
Yeah.
Who's do you have an actress in your head that you want to be that or no?
No, I can't really think of anyone. As long as it's not Megan Fox, I mean. That would suck.
So what do you want to talk about next, James?
So wasn't there there's some Nintendo news also?
Okay. So you want to talk about the Nintendo Direct?
Yes.
All right. So we had a Nintendo Direct recently, and we covered. It was interesting because it was focused on Splatoon 2 and ARMS for the Nintendo Switch, and they did have some content for the 3DS. So we'll go through there. We got an official name for the Pikmin game for 3DS, and it's called Hey Pikmin. And you got a new amiibo for Hey Pikmin, and a release date for that game too, which is in July. And we did get confirmation that the game is going to be in 2D, not in 3D on the top screen.
That's interesting.
I'm guessing it's just because the visuals, they're going to have a lot of dual screen stuff, and they want it to not be distracting or weird if you're going from the bottom screen to the top screen, and the top screen is 3D and the bottom screen is 2D, So it may be one of those things where it would be too weird, but I kind of think it's disappointing because the game it might be really pretty on the 3DS screen, and 2D games like that do look really nice. So platforming games like that would look really good in 3D, and it's disappointing. I know that has like cutscenes too, so I would think that some of the cutscenes would be in 3D, but
yeah.
But yeah, I'm totally fine with this. I think I'm going to buy it. Hey Pikmin. I like the Pikmin games.
Pikmin 4?
Well,
Pikmin 3 was pretty good.
I think Pikmin 4, if that happens, it will probably be for the Switch. And
Yeah.
we may get some news about it this year on E3, but I don't know. We may just get a port of Pikmin 3 on Switch because, the probably didn't sell well enough, but we'll see.
Who knows? And then Splatoon 2, which fans have called Splatoon.
Nice.
They should call it the official name. Splatoon.
It looks good. It looks like not that much different from the first one, But,
yeah.
So, Hey Pikmin comes out July 28th. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah.
And the Amiibo comes out the same day. And we also got confirmation of Box Boy 3 or something.
Yeah.
Which already came out in Japan, and they have Amiibo, but Amiibo was not confirmed for here. And then that game is like the final of the Box Boy games, which I actually really liked the first one. I haven't finished it, but it's a good little puzzle game. It's a really simple idea, and like basically you're a box, and then you could clone yourself to, do things. So like you could clone, for example, your box, and there's a little pit. So you have to clone yourself times 3 to then stretch yourself over the pit.
Oh yeah, that's kind of interesting.
It's an interesting little concept. It's a good game. I haven't finished it, so I'm not interested in going to the third one when I'm still finishing up the first one,
Yeah.
But it's good that they're releasing this here in the U.S. this year.
Yeah.
And we got a confirmation of, a new Me game called Miitopia. So Miitopia came out last December in Japan, and it kind of came out of nowhere. They just kind of released it, and apparently in Japan, Nintendo did a lot of advertising for this game, and people that actually played it don't like it.
Yeah, they were like, this is bad.
It is like an RPG game, role-playing game, and like you can play your Miis in there, and like basically it's like a full $40 game. And it feels like it probably should be like a $10 game,
Wow.
And like basically the Miis are going around and like battling, and if the Miis that you collected are not good friends with each other, then they won't battle well. So you have to make sure that they're friendly. And from what I hear, it's just not that much fun. It's kind of like one of those things where you kind of play it for like an hour, like I get it, and then there's like 10 hours left to do it, and it just kind of. You have to repeat the whole game over and over again to get the real ending. It's one of those kind of Japanese weird games that are not really great, and they're just kind of...
Yeah.
This is kind of one of those things where Nintendo's like, okay, the 3DS is going to have probably one more year. Let's get everything that's out in Japan here in the U.S. and Europe, and just get it out. Just make sure that we get our money's worth for, making these games, because...
Yeah.
So Miitopia, they got bad reviews. It was like 5, 6, 4, out of 10s, and that's not like a Nintendo game. That's just like throwing it up and like whatever, And then we did get a lot of Kirby news, James, because it's the Kirby 25th anniversary. And they showed off
pretty cool.
Yeah, I like Kirby. They have a lot of games that are shown, and these games seem like they're like mini games, but they're like expanded upon. Like I think they're all mini games from Robobot or the Triple Deluxe, and they're just kind of expanded upon. So like those main games would have these mini games, and then now these mini games are spun off and become bigger games,
Yeah.
And then they said that they're going to have later on a Kirby 25th anniversary multiplayer game, but they didn't really show it. So whatever. And then it's kind of weird because it's kind of a curse of Kirby. I don't know if you ever heard of this curse.
What's the curse of Kirby?
So Nintendo doesn't usually release a Kirby game until the end of a life cycle of the system.
Yeah.
So usually the Kirby games, they may be like one of the last few major hit franchises that hit the system before they get the axe. So like Nintendo, that first Kirby game on Nintendo didn't come out till like 1990, you know, and the Super Nintendo game, you know, the last ones were Kirby, and you know, there's exceptions, but a lot of the times Kirby is like the last indicator. Oh, we're gonna do a big push on Kirby, and then system's dead. And it was kind of weird because a couple of days after Nintendo Direct, and a Japanese clothing company announced something. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Interestingly enough, for the 25th anniversary of Kirby, they have announced that they're making Kirby lingerie.
For women, of course.
Yes.
And
celebrate the 25th anniversary, girls can wear Kirby lingerie.
And it's like a natty, it's like underwear, and it's like a weird costume, which is like really strange. It's like the model is just wearing a big bag that has like the pink Kirby on it. It looks terrible. And then it's like a pink. It's like, okay, if you want to cosplay as Kirby, you could wear that, but I can't imagine anyone for lingerie purposes wearing a big brown bag.
Because, I mean, come on, if you want to look nice, you're not going to put on that thing.
And then you get like a pink, like a see-through backpack, which, okay, I could say that's kind of cute, but it's like, okay, why is this lingerie? Is that where you're going to have your adult toys and novelties? You know, and it's like, it's officially Nintendo licensed. So it's 100%.
It's not like this is just a third party thing. This is a visual.
Yeah, and it's like Nintendo did not mention this in the Direct, but another company, you know, clothing line announced it a couple of days afterwards, and it just kind of makes no sense at all. It's very strange. I mean, I think there's a big Kirby cult in Japan because Kirby is everywhere, I guess. There's a lot of like Kirby, you know. And the girl, the model, I don't know. You said that this is like a Japanese thing, but she does not look like she should be modeling adult lingerie. Just put it that way.
Well, okay. She looks rather young, and the thing is that generally, this is just a thing in East Asia, it's generally considered that the best age to model is like, or not the best age to model, but like the age that you're trying to look for is 14. So pretty much all the girls try to dress and look like they're 14. It's just something that is part of the Japanese culture.
And it's really strange.
Disturbing. It's disturbing, yes, but that's just the way Asia is.
It's totally pedo bear bait.
Yeah.
And you know, like they really kind of play it up, and it's like, yeah, you guys, I don't know why you guys are doing that. And like they put like pink lipstick and or like eyeshadow on the girl, so you know she doesn't look comfortable. She doesn't. I don't know. It looks very strange. It doesn't look titillating, to say it in a very nice, respectful way. It doesn't really seem. Yeah. It just. I thought it was funny. I didn't think it was sexy. You know.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on. We got a new title for the next Wreck-It Ralph movie. Did you hear about this?
No.
Okay, this title, I think it's awful, but all right, what is it? It's called
you forget?
Ralph breaks the internet, Wreck-It Ralph 2.
No, that meme is just meme-worthy.
Let me say it again. Ralph breaks the internet, Wreck-It Ralph 2.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah, that's a mouthful.
Bad name.
And yeah, I get that's, yeah.
No, you have to understand that that's the type of name that when the meme people find it, they're just gonna spam it.
It's. I think this one is. You said it before, and I think this might be a good one to do the electric boogaloo kind of garbage. This may be one of those jokes that never ends.
Yeah, you mean the joke that it should be called Wreck-It Ralph 2 Electric Boogaloo?
Yeah, because that movie, I even forget what the original Boogaloo movie was, but it was so bad that people made fun of that second movie title for decades later, and it's just like, whatever. And like this title is awful.
Yeah. Ralph breaks the internet, like, so bad.
It's like, okay, everyone's just going to call it Wreck-It Ralph 2, so why even bother even have the, the Wreck-It Ralph wrecks the internet.
Wrecks the internet. Wrecks the internet.
I'm fine with that concept idea. Yeah,
but the name is so bad.
It's so bad. It's like the first draft, and it's like, okay, you got anything else? No. Oh, okay, good enough. Just move on. It's like, no, it's not good enough. It's terrible. It just doesn't roll off the tongue, and it puts more questions and answers there.
The funny thing is about that title is it just sounds very like board of directors kind of thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, the kids like the internet.
Like, the suit picked it.
Let's make it Wreck the internet.
Yeah, that sounds
it just sounds really out of touch.
It just,
again, I bet you, when the meme people find this, they're going to troll, like, this thing.
When the trailer actually hits for it, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have been worse. It could have been like, wreck it in cyberspace.
Cyberspace.
Because no one uses cyberspace really, except for Cyber Monday.
or how about they call it the web.
Ralph surfs the interweb. And it's kind of weird because Wreck-It Ralph was supposed to be like an 8-bit game, like Donkey Kong, and now he's jumping up to be an online game. He's jumping up 30 years in gaming development. So we want to talk about next, James.
You pick the next topic.
So apparently there was going to be a Star Fox game for Nintendo 3DS, and it was going to be a 3D remake of the original game.
Why go to the next level when you can go light years beyond? You are Foxy Cloud in Star Fox, only for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System.
And it was canceled by Nintendo. This was like one of those things that are like in the Reddit Ask Me Anything, and they talked to a developer that was helping out Nintendo, and they said that they made a prototype, and that they talked to Nintendo about it, and like they were getting it going, but then they canceled it. And it's kind of sad because the original Star Fox has not been re-released since its original release date in 1992 or whatever, 93. Because Nintendo has never released it on the Virtual Console. Technically speaking, Star Fox 64 was a remake of it, and then Star Fox Zero was a remake of both of them, and Star Fox 64 3D was a remake of all of them or whatever. But the original Star Fox is not been ever released in the whole ugly polygon,
The ugly polygon.
I mean, look, back in the day, it was amazing. Now it looks really bad. And it has a really bad frame rate, so it's really slow. So I would like a remake of that to speed it up, to clean it up a little bit, but then still keep a lot of what made the original game so fun. So it's, the 64 was a remake, but they changed things up, so having an original 3D remake on the 3DS would look pretty cool, So
yeah,
it's just sad because I do have the original Star Fox 64 3D on my 3DS, and it does look gorgeous in 3D. And it, they remade it, and it has a fun little local multiplayer game, and it's good stuff. It's just unfortunate that the original can't be tweaked and fixed or whatever. So, kind of speaking about original games, so we had a lot of fun talking about the NES Classic or the NES Mini, whatever you want to call it. And we were interested in it a couple months ago when Nintendo announced it. And this week, Nintendo announced another aspect of that, which is that it is officially going to be discontinued.
Huh. That's interesting.
And in the month of April, which we're recording this on, today is April 22nd? No. Anyway, they announced that the shipments that the NES Classic will have in April will be the final shipments. And it is discontinued, and they are sorry that the more shipments were not made, and they're sorry that people will find it really hard to find. And, of course, people are super excited, James, or not people, scalpers. Scalpers are not people. They're savages.
Scalpers are not people. And scalpers are actually behind every single world calamity in the entire world. So, think about it. The sinking of the Titanic, probably scalpers. The Hindenburg disaster, scalpers. The rise of Adolf Hitler, scalpers. The list goes on.
They just rile people up and get people mad, and then they're the kindling that starts the fire.
They're the worst.
So the scalpers are super excited because the ones that, if you try to buy NES Mini off of Craigslist or eBay, they're at least $100 more than the retail. So, knowing that for a fact, after April, it's discontinued, no longer going to be in production, no longer in stores, they could easily raise that price for another $100 and then just chill, because they know they only have, it's gone, it's not going to have any more. And I think it's ridiculous. I think it's absolute stupidity from Nintendo. There's, to not have more of these. People, it's been hard to find because it's always sold out. And when you have a popular product, James, and it's selling out, you don't discontinue it. It's like, oh, this is selling too well. Let's just cancel it. That way we don't...
Let's cancel it so that we won't get any more money.
Yeah, it's selling too much. People are complaining they can't find it. Well, you know what will stop them from complaining they can't find it? If we don't make any more. It's totally anti-business logic. It makes no sense. I would totally get this if it was like the opposite, where if you had so many NES Classics that they had Walmart was selling them for $20 or something because no one wanted them. They had 100,000 copies. Each store had, and they just like the Amiibo with the Animal Crossing. The Animal Crossing Amiibo, retailers are just dropping the prices on those. I saw, a bunch of Tom Nook Animal Crossing amiibo at GameStop yesterday for $2.99. That's 90% markdown.
Yeah.
So obviously, Nintendo would not manufacture more of the Animal Crossing line of amiibo because they haven't sold. People don't, it's not there. But this is the opposite. NES Classic has been impossible to find. I don't think I've ever seen one in the wild, quote unquote, and I've basically given up trying, because whenever it does pop up, hey, a website will say NES Classic now available at Best Buy or Target. 5 minutes later, it's sold out. So it's one of those things. There's got to be more to this story that Nintendo refuses to acknowledge. Like, is there some kind of deal with the third parties that, because there's Final Fantasy in here, there's Capcom games in there, like Castlevania. The third parties, they're wanting more money, and that's why Nintendo was like, hey, we need, we had a deal with this amount of money, and they want more, and we're not going to give them more. Or is there something in manufacturing where it's just a pain in the butt to make these things? It just makes no sense.
I don't know.
So there's got to be more to this story, but I don't think we're ever going to find out. If we do find out, it'll be 10 years from now. It's strange because I kind of want one, but I'm not going to pay a penny more than retail.
Yeah, it makes me wonder about all those unreleased amiibo figures.
Which, okay, we go back to now. We do have more amiibo coming from the Nintendo Direct, and we finally got confirmation for the last 3 Smash Brothers DLC amiibo.
Which is good.
Finally. So, and there's going to be 2 variants of each amiibo. So 2 Clouds, 2 Bayonettas, 2 Corinths. Not like anyone cares about Corinth that much, but whatever, 2 of them. And they're going to be retailer exclusive. Now, all the retailers haven't been told which ones are going to be there, but for a fact, Cloud is a GameStop exclusive, and I think Toys R Us is for Zelda amiibo, which they also announced more Zelda amiibo, which is kind of becoming, I guess, a joke now, because there's going to be 3 more versions of Link.
Why?
And so the 3 versions of Link, one is from Skyward Sword, one is from Twilight Princess, and one is from Majora's Mask. Majora's Mask one is a young Link holding up a Goron mask, which I do want, because I do love Majora's Mask, and that unlocks the Fierce Deity mask or costume in Breath of the Wild.
Huh.
And the other 2 Links look fine. It's just they look, basically slightly different poses from the other Links. And, now we have the original Smash Brothers Link. We have the 8-bit Link. We have the 2 different versions of Wind Waker Link. We have, a version of Ocarina of Time Link. We got a Link from 2 different Links from Breath of the Wild, or one on a horse, and then so we have way too many Links out there, and the Zelda universe has a lot of good characters. So to have all of them be Link is kind of disappointing, I get the Majora's Mask one. I get all the poses are like the original concept art poses on the box and stuff, but they're not that interesting except for Majora's Mask, because that's a mask in it. You can really tell what game that's from. But I kind of worry about, one, is going to be a good production of these, or is going to be terrible, because the Ocarina of Time Link, where you have him playing with the Ocarina, that one's impossible to find. I tried to find that one. I assumed those would be plentiful because Link was very plentiful, and I was wrong. and those are impossible to find. So some of them are going to be impossible to find. Some of them are going to be very plentiful. I don't know which ones, but what Zelda character would you want to be an amiibo that is not one, like not Zelda or Link?
How about Skull Kid?
Skull Kid would be cool.
Yeah.
I said it before, just having a Master Sword would be pretty cool, or just having a Triforce, that would be cool too. You don't have to have the actual Link character or the Zelda character, and we already have a Ganon, so we don't need another Ganon.
How about Dark Link?
Dark Link would be cool. Yeah. Maybe the pig form of Ganon, because we only have the Ganondorf,
Yeah. Who's the one evil wizard in Link to the Past?
Grelaham or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. That'd be a cool figure, too.
Okay.
Like a throwback villain.
Be a cool version of Link, if they want to do this, would be like Link from Link Between Worlds. And like he has like a wall, and it's like spray painted onto that wall.
Yeah.
That would be interesting. That would be a different way of showing Link, and that is unique and cool looking. Not just, a different pose where he holds the shield and the Master Sword a different way. It's like, so what?
Well, and the thing is that I'm not against them making all these different Links. It's just like they have to be unique. Like, for example, how about make a Toon Link where his hat is that bird thing?
Oh, from Minish Cap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been a cool figure, though.
Yeah, that's a fine variant. That's a fine way of doing that.
Yeah.
I do like the Arcania Time Link where he's playing the Arcania. That's a good look. That's okay. He's playing from the game. That's fine. So I get that, but having all these different variants. It's just kind of, okay, we get it. Link was the biggest selling, amiibo in America. We don't need to sell 20 versions of him, If you're going to have other ones, then do the other ones, Do different kinds of amiibo.
Yeah.
I like, the Guardian amiibo from Breath of the Wild is really cool. Because you could play with the little arms, and it doesn't really look like an amiibo. It looks like a really cool action figure toy, and that's cool. I bought that one, and I'm very happy I did because it's like $20, but it's nice. It's a nice thing, not just a guy in a stand. So it's just I wouldn't really want like Tingle. Tingle is just kind of a weird character, but you could have. The Fierce Deity Mask Link, that would be amazing. I think that would be, he's one of the characters, that version of Link is pretty awesome. So, I wouldn't mind, like, some of the supporting characters, like the Goron or, like, the Zora being, in the game, or...
Yeah.
They have, like, one of the enemies from Breath of the Wild, and, like, that one's okay, but, like, more iconic enemies, maybe, like, I don't know. Maybe you could have, like, the Octoroks, and, like, it actually shoots out a rock, That'd be, I don't know. But, we got a lot there. What else we got from this Nintendo Direct? So the Link, okay. Let me make sure I got the dates for everything right. Hold on. Smash Brothers Amiibo come out July 21st.
Yeah.
And the Zelda ones on June 23rd. So that's a little bit of in the future, but not like totally, We also got a new Yokai watch. It's like, whatever. This is like the third Yokai watch. And this is like the third game in a row, within a year, So they really are trying hard to make Yokai into a big franchise here in America. and I just don't know if people care enough, you know? I think there's like one more version in Japan, you know, and then we'll be caught up. So maybe that's part of it. They just want to catch up, you know?
Yeah, and I think the problem is the cultural divide.
Yeah, there's a lot of cultural things that are in yokai that really cater to Japanese and Asian culture in general, and they just don't translate very well here, where, you know, it just, you know, maybe over there they get the joke. Over here, it just, I don't get it, or whatever, you know. And that's why it's so popular in Japan.
A lot of people, it comes across as very, almost very Pokemon, kind of.
Yeah. And it's different. It's very different from Pokemon because, you know, they're ghosts, and they battle on their own. You don't actually have to train them really. They just kind of figure it out on their own, and
yeah.
So it does have a different feeling, but
I'm just saying it feels like
yeah.
it. Like people will think that, you know.
Yeah, I agree. And then we got a new Monster Hunter game. It's cel shaded. It looks more kiddie, which actually it doesn't look bad. It looks fine for what it is. I never really got into the Monster Hunter games. I just don't care. It doesn't really grab my attention.
They're big swords.
Yeah, they're giant swords. You run around, kill giant monsters, and like
that
it's one of those
like so long to kill. Like, you know.
It's weird because like in Breath of the Wild, it's a very, you know, open world game, but it's so well done. It's so much fun. You know, if they could use the Breath of the Wild engine for Monster Hunter, then you got something going on there, because there's some really cool monsters in Breath of the Wild, and it's, you know, the combat and everything there is just so good. And I guess maybe after this, the next Monster Hunter game will be on the Switch, because I don't, you know, we'll see and how that's going to be.
That will be interesting to see in the future.
So we got some Toy Story 4 news. It's kind of interesting. You know Don Rickles, right?
Wasn't he one of the voice actors?
Yes, he played Mr. Potato Head. He passed away.
He died?
And now they have to rewrite the entire movie.
So they're not going to recast him?
I don't believe so. So they have to rewrite the movie, and that's going to cause delays, and which is unfortunate. You know, the voice actor was really old. He was in his 80s, but you know, first I have a big problem with Toy Story 4 that it just shouldn't be made. They made a great 3 and just stop it and move on. You know.
Yeah, and the way it ended good. So I don't see why they needed to even do a 4.
If they're going to do it, then they could reboot it, or they could, you know, because like, how much farther can you really go? You know, Wreck-It Ralph kind of is an evolution of Toy Story 4 in video games, because kids now play more video games than they do physical toys, Amiibo withstanding. You know, so I just don't see how they could continue on with the same toys, the same characters. It ended so well with 3. Just leave it alone. A major character just died. Just don't rewrite it. Don't, just accept it, and maybe have a totally different version of Toy Story if you're going to have it.
Yeah.
You don't have to have Woody and Buzz and everything else. Just totally have a different universe, you know? And I think that could be a fresh way to reintroduce the series or continue it, because it doesn't have to be, but, you know, it's not the Buzz Lightyear Woody movie. It's Toy Story. So it could be any Toy Story, you know?
Yeah.
So the first 3 were obviously with Andy, and that made sense. So now they could probably do, I guess, 3 with another kid, you know, maybe that little girl. But just don't do it. Just leave it alone. Just make a new franchise, you know?
Yeah, and this kind of goes for the same for a lot of the things that, like, you know, Pixar's making a third Cars, you know, and who's not to say that they're just going to make a fourth one?
Yeah. All right, so let's keep going. We got a ton more to talk about. We got Dragon Quest XI. You know, Square Enix showed off Dragon Quest XI coming for the PS4 and 3DS, and it's kind of a weird because in the Japanese special edition, it's both games in one. So you open the box, James, and you have a PS4 disc, and you also have a 3DS cartridge.
Yes.
That's really weird.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
And then, of course, this was supposed to come out for the Switch as well, but we don't have anything about that. But the fact that, you know, I guess you would want to have a portable version and a, you know, home console version, so you would get the PS4 3DS version, but you would think Nintendo would be like, hey, do it with the Switch, you know. But I guess not. It's kind of weird. I mean, Dragon Quest is a weird franchise because they don't do that much with the series. It's traditional RPG, and they just keep at it. And it's a good franchise. It's just Japan, they go crazy for it. And here, it's never been anywhere like a tenth of the craziness of Japan, you know?
Yeah.
So we got another news with Jude Law being Dumbledore in the next Fantastic Beasts movie. Sorry, I get my Fantastics mixed up. So what do you think about Jude Law being Dumbledore?
That's kind of interesting pick. I mean, I don't really have anything against it, though.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with it. I really like Jude Law as an actor overall, and Dumbledore is a very iconic character. And, you know, it kind of, you know, makes total sense to have him younger, obviously, than older, because the Harry Potter, he had a huge beard. He was, you know, 80s or 70s, you know, and having him in his 30s and, you know, would be cool. I'm totally fine with this, you know. I think the Fantastic Beasts movie original was only okay, so I do hope that they make it better, but I'm fine with this.
Yeah. I mean, could you stand 5 films?
No, not really, but Warner Brothers wants another franchise, and it probably made enough money to justify at least 2 more. We'll see if it gets to 5, but, you know, they're going to force it. They forced Lord of the Rings, not Lord of the Rings, the deserved 3 movies. They forced the Hobbits to be 3 movies, which did not deserve to be 3 movies. That could have been wrapped up in 1 3-hour movie, but they instead did 3, you know, and but you were a better judge of Hobbit movies. Could they have done that movie in 1 movie instead of 3?
Yeah, they shouldn't have. Well, they could have actually. I think that personally it could have worked maybe not in 1 because that'd be a little bit too cramped, but 2.
But not 3.
Not 3.
So, yeah, they're just trying there, so.
Yeah.
We got a Star Wars trailer, which wasn't much of anything, which is fine because
yeah.
we did get, you know, it's a very much of a teaser, no real story elements. You get some Luke in there. He's doing a lot of narration in here. He does say that it's time for the Jedi to end, which is kind of interesting from him being the last Jedi, I'm assuming. So it looks fine. It looks basically what you would expect it to look like, and it seems like it literally starts right where the 7 ends. So it's fine. It didn't super excite me, but it didn't disappoint me either. And we got a Transformers, the Last Night trailer, which I think was actually more interesting of the 2 trailers. Did you see this?
Yeah.
So it looks more serious than the other Transformers movies. That's the first thing that caught me. And it looks better shot, and I could really appreciate that they are filming this in IMAX 3D.
Yeah.
That is, I totally respect them for doing that, because not many people film in 3D and not many people film in IMAX, and no one really films in IMAX 3D. So when you do see it in IMAX 3D, it's going to be incredible. You know, IMAX is probably, for me, the best way to see 3D, you know, and if it's shot that way, it's going to look great. And the 3D is, I never had a problem with the 3D element of the Transformers movies. I had a problem with the story and the characters. But they're fun, stupid movies. So this looks like another fun, stupid movie. Apparently there's like God talking to Optimus or something. Or their God, I don't know. Did you catch that?
Yeah.
And then, of course, they have the time travel stuff, with the beginning being, you know, in the Middle Ages, and the Knights of the Round Table, and okay, whatever, you know, but sure.
I saw one funny comment about that, though. It's like, the only little detail that, the only tiny detail that we forgot about World War II was that giant talking robots helped in the war.
Yeah. It was all those, it was a big conspiracy, man. The government covered it up.
Yeah.
You know, the government, they were ruled by all those scalpers.
Yeah, the scalpers did it.
They're the ones that covered it up. You just didn't know any better. But the Transformers totally did it. Okay, so we got a couple more stories we'll run through. So it looks like Will Smith is in talks to play the genie in the live-action Aladdin movie.
I wish it was it would be really funny if this is okay. I don't have a problem with this, but it would have been really funny if it was actually Shaquille O'Neal who did it. You know why?
Yeah, I know why. Because he was the genie.
That's why.
And you did Shaquille O'Neal. I was gonna do Sinbad. But Shaquille O'Neal is probably even better because he's a terrible actor. He was a fantastic basketball player. I will totally give him that. He totally deserved all the rings he got. He was amazing back in the day. But as an actor, he sucks.
Also, the Sinbad genie thing doesn't exist. That's so funny.
So, okay, Will Smith, I'm fine with this. I think people are getting really up in arms. I think by the nature of the character, he can't be the same genie as Robin Williams. He can't.
No one can.
No one can. So I don't think he's going to even try. I think he's going to have a totally different spin on it, and we'll see how that works, you know? I'm fine with it. You know, Jim Carrey would have been kind of fun too, but I think he would have been too much trying to be Robin Williams, where he just has to be its own character. He has to. You can't copy, you know, certain people, so you just have to make it your own. And I think Will Smith can make it his own. And it's kind of a weird thing that I think in a lot of, I guess, Persian and Arabic stories, you know, having African characters is actually normal for them.
Yeah.
It's not completely far-fetched to have a genie be African descent. And so that's actually not, it's actually more in line to what it could have been, you know, in live action, you know, because just how the culture was in that time and how they did stuff. And, you know, being that Arabia, you know, Persia and Arabia isn't that far from Africa, you know, in the global sense. It's kind of one of those things that makes sense in a screenplay, makes sense there. I'm fine with it. It's going to be one of those things that you just have to see that trailer to know how it actually works. And based on all the hate, which I think is justifiable for Ghost in the Shell, I do kind of think the bigger thing to see about casting is going to be how they cast Jasmine and Aladdin, because I totally am okay. I think they need to cast a darker skinned. It doesn't have to be a Muslim or it doesn't have to be, but I think they should try to have something in that frame. Those characters are legitimately in that vein of being Persian Muslim. So I think they definitely doubt if those characters are white. I really think that's going to be a bad thing. That is their characters. It is part of the story. I think, that's what I'll get pissed off about, if Aladdin is, Jude Law. If that doesn't make any sense, it's just stupid, but you know what I mean? And we got now Avatar 2 is going to be coming out in December 2020.
Avatar 2020.
Whatever, man. We've been tuning on Avatar forever. It's just whatever.
11 years.
11 years. Ugh. So we'll see, but yeah, I'm not holding my breath until then.
Yeah, hey, remember when this film was going to come out by now?
Yeah, and then if the hype, he's going to have to do some crazy stuff in here to really make it worthwhile, because he's going to have to shoot it, and then be future proof, because by 2020, which is 3 years away. Is he going to shoot this in like an 8K? Yeah. Because, 4K is becoming mainstream, so might as well shoot in 8K. And is this going to be, it would be cool if he does shoot it in IMAX 3D,
Yeah.
If he shoots it if it's like 120 frames a second or 240 frames a second, super high speed, make it more interesting. Yeah. That could be an interesting, innovative way to keep it, totally different.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean,
yeah.
So we got a little bit of news left. So apparently, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which didn't come out in like 2 weeks from now, it has apparently five post-credit scenes.
Wow.
So you might as well just stay until the next movie's about to start. Until the ushers are out there, go home. Because 5 is really cutting it. It's going to be like, all right, 1, 5 minutes after the first credits roll, 2, 5 minutes after that, 3, 5 minutes after that, 4, 5 minutes after that, and 5 at the very end of the credits. That's just kind of being excessive. So I'm totally fine with that. I'm excited to see Guardians 2. It's going to be one of the few times we get to review a sequel, because we did review the original Guardians of the Galaxy on the website, and now we get to see a sequel, of a movie that we did a predecessor to. So that's going to be fun, And they already said they're going to have Guardians 3, which is like, okay, come on.
Guardians 3, Electric Boogaloo.
And they're going to connect Phase 6 or whatever. I don't know. It's just like, okay, come on, we get it, move on, and,
Phase 4 might be a disaster, but that's a discussion for another day.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of talks for Captain Marvel, but they haven't shown anything for Captain Marvel yet. And a lot of people don't like. I haven't watched it yet. I'm gonna wait till the summer when things calm down on TV. But a lot of people don't really like that newest Marvel show, Iron Fist. Have you watched it? Do you think it's okay?
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Okay.
The critics don't like it, but a lot of fans do.
Okay. Well, I haven't watched it yet, so but it's going to be interesting how they keep playing this out, because I think there's a lot of people that are getting tired of the comic book movies now more than ever, which I think we're fine with. We like them for what they are, but there's a lot of people out there that they have to change it up, and like Logan was a good example of changing it up, and Deadpool. So, yeah, we'll see. You got anything else to cover, James, or no?
No, not really.
We got a jam-packed episode here, so yeah, sorry that we've waited quite a while between episodes. It's just getting harder. Scalpers, yeah, we blame them. We blame them for all the world's ills. Damn that capitalism. So, yeah. Yeah, that's going to be it for this show. We'll try to get into a better schedule. It's just a matter of time, a matter of news. And James, do you have any news about your life that you want to share with the audience now?
Well, in about 2 months, I will be leaving for boot camp for the Marine Corps. So when I'm gone in 2 months, I'm going to basically be inactive for at least 3 months.
So, yeah, obviously you'll be welcome to come back to guest star whenever you have a chance, but you will not be a regular member of the cast. So
at least for the time being, yeah.
And that's perfectly fine. I totally honor and respect the service that you're going to do for the country. And it is much more important to serve this country than it is to do a funny little podcast about movies and 3D stuff. So I totally have props for you, man. And I just want to give people a heads up, so that way people don't get oh my God, it's gone next week. you know, and depending on the situation, because world events and how military does things, sometimes things may be pushed up. So, we don't want to be totally caught flat-footed here, and, if something happens where you have to start next month, at least people know, Yeah,
I know what you mean.
God forbid World War III happens in 2 months. And, But, I'm going to miss you, and we'll try to see what we could do. And obviously we would want you to come back whenever you get a chance, but I know that it's going to be very rare and more of a treat than a regular thing. So I wanted to prepare people for that. And we got to do some things before you go. We never got around to doing a Doctor Strange podcast. So we got to do that. But we got to do some things, and I'm gonna miss you, and we just want to give everyone a heads up of some website news, and we're gonna try to figure out more people. Maybe they could come on board. Maybe you'll get Christian to be more part of this. But we'll see. We gotta play it by ear and see how things flow. But that's gonna be it for this extended, super huge episode of Death 3D Show 61, and that's it. Bye.
See you guys.
Alright, so that's going to wrap up this podcast.
Remember to like, comment, favorite, subscribe, love, whatever, heart it, do something.
3D or 2D.com can be found on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, and SoundCloud. And if you want to send us email, our email address is email3d or 2d@gmail.com. And thank you again for listening. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye, everyone.